Listen to the question she asks him. Watch this.
You know, she says she went to Syria to promote diplomacy. But, I mean, I know you just laid out some of it, but what was she really doing?
Obviously, she was meeting with Russian internet trolls to make memes and sow discontent. That's her question. Go ahead. Could you...
You know, she says she went to Syria to promote diplomacy. But, I mean, I know you just laid out some of it, but what was she really doing?
Right, what she would... Yeah, that's kind of amazing. I just thought I'd show you that, because that's kind of amazing. And then here she was on MSNBC. And so watch this.
I want to go with this for a moment. So when sitting down with someone like Bashar al-Assad in Syria, do you confront him directly and say, why do you order chemical attacks on your own people? Why do you cause the killings of over 500,000 people in your country?
Look, let me just say this. If the corporate media was as tough on politicians that are fueling the wars as they are on the ones who are trying to end the wars, we would have been out of Afghanistan in 2003. So let's remember that MSNBC is the network that fired Phil Donahue for telling the truth about the Iraq War, which she is currently fucking serving in, right? They fired Phil Donahue for telling the truth. They fired Jesse Ventura for telling the truth. They fired Ashley Banfield for telling the truth about war. That's what MSNBC does. And they also fired people who tell the truth for even covering progressive politicians. So the fact that they bring her on, of course they're going to do this. Of course they hire somebody like her who's going to take orders on what kind of questions to ask Tulsi Gabbard. She wasn't allowed to give her a decent interview, and if she did, she'd have been fucking fired like Phil Donahue too. These people are tools, and she's a tool just as big as anybody at MSNBC. All right, so I just wanted to get that off my chest. Here we go.
I want to go with this for a moment. So when sitting down with someone like Bashar al-Assad in Syria, do you confront him directly and say, why do you order chemical attacks on your own people? Why do you cause the killings of over 500,000 people in your country?
Look, you know, I want to break this down to what we're talking about.
It's really a yes or no answer.
I want to break this down to what we're talking about here today, because you're talking about a meeting that took place, what, 3 years ago?
Well, Congresswoman,
and every time I come back, every time I come back here on MSNBC, you guys talk to me about these issues. It sounds like these are talking points that Kamala Harris and her campaign are feeding you because she...
Watching the news would be this much fun. Just
like. And the thing is about corporate news, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's fucking everywhere, right? It's just, it never stops. It's everywhere. Okay, so here we go. There's more.
We're refusing to address the questions
Congresswoman,
that were posed to her.
It's important, I think, for the American people to have context about your foreign policy issues and where you stick.
Yeah, because she cares about the American people. She doesn't care about her paycheck or her career or her future in frickin' bullshit propaganda news journalism. She cares about the American people, which is why she's smearing right now a veteran who's standing up against wars that the American people don't want. That's called courage, and what this woman's doing from MSNBC is called cowardice propaganda. She's a coward and a propagandist. That's what that woman is. She works for MSNBC. You can't be anything else.
If you're leading with foreign policy and you're running for the president of the United States, a meeting with Bashar al-Assad, which I'm sure you understand, is a very controversial meeting to take. Hence the reason why when you come on MSNBC, it is important for us to talk to you about that. And of course, every anchor has a different perspective and different questions to ask of you.
Every single time for 3 years. This is where the propaganda comes in, because I've talked about
it. You know, I'm just going to read a little subtext here. Tulsi, in my opinion, is going, how many wars have you been at, bitch? Like, that's... She worked in a medical unit. You know what that means? She saw the most awful shit. She saw what war actually does to the human beings. That's why she's like, I'm against it. Little fucking, little Miss Journalist over here has never set foot outside of her. She's traveled to, you know, Europe and shit like that. She's never even been close to war. She's never smelled one. She doesn't know what one fucking looks like. So that's why she has the audacity to say this to a goddamn combat vet.
Well, wait a second. She might have smelled a backpack. You don't know.
You're right. Good fair. Good point, Ron. Ron called it. Ron called it. That's really good, Ron 10.
This a lot for the last 3 years, and I've talked about how as a soldier, I served in a field medical unit in Iraq, where every single day I saw the very high human cost of war. Every single day, the first thing that I did was go through a list name by name of every single American casualty and injury that had occurred the day before. So I will not apologize to you or to anyone for doing all that. Let me finish. For doing all that I can to prevent our country from continuing to make these perpetual wrong decisions that have taken a toll on the lives of my brothers and sisters in uniform. I will continue to do all that I can to make sure that we end these wasteful regime change wars that have taken such a toll on all of us and that have made our country less safe. And if that means having a meeting with a dictator, if that means trying to meet with Kim Jong-un in North Korea to de-escalate tensions and remove this nuclear threat from our country and our people, whatever the crisis is, we've got to have a leader with the courage to do the right thing for the American people, putting their interests ahead of everything else. That is what I'm focused on. And that's what's at the center of my foreign policy and the leadership that I'll bring as president.
I certainly am not.
I've certainly never been to war or done anything courageous ever. But I like to smear you for money, and that's what I do.
You to apologize for your service. I'm very thankful for your service at that, and I don't think anybody is asking.
Wow.
I'm very thankful for your service, and that's why I smear you as not being patriotic enough.
Apologize for your service. This is more a conversation and asking you questions to explain the decisions that you've made in the past and the statements that you've made in the past with regards to your...
It's fucking August. You guys have been doing this for 3 years. Okay. And by the way, here's Twitter. You want to see how Twitter helps screw over Tulsi? So the trend, what was trending was Tulsi smashed Kamala Harris. Here's how Twitter said it. Kamala Harris brings up Tulsi Gabbard's record with the Assad regime. There it is. There's 12,000 people tweeting about that.
And then look at the other trend below. Even Twitter has to be honest about it.
Yes.
48.6 thousand.
Hashtag Kamala Harris destroyed.
Yeah.
That's the real trend, but they pretend it's a different trend. Isn't that fucking hilarious?
You gotta read the fine print.
So 48,000 people are hashtagging Kamala Harris destroyed. 12,000 people are talking about Kamala Harris bringing up Tulsi, and they go with, of course, that. That's Twitter. All right. So don't think social media is separate from the intelligence community one bit. They are not, okay? They are fucking joined at the hip. The Atlantic Council is running Facebook. Who's running Twitter? I don't know, but they're just as bad. Okay. Our next live Jimmy Dore show is August 24th in Denver, Colorado. Then we're going to San Francisco, Seattle, Baltimore, and Honolulu for Christmas. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all tickets. And if you'd like to support the show, that's how we do this. Become a premium member or a Patreon patron. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Thanks for your support.